What is the creepiest thing you have seen in the woods or elsewhere? In order to get back home from a popular kebab restaurant, I need to walk a short path through the woods. Along the way, there is an extremely old, abandoned, partially collapsed chapel, and occasionally I will stand there for a few seconds admiring it. It's quite beautiful on its own way. One day during the winter season, I decided to rest there for a minute, so I placed my kebab on the bench right next to the chapel and just stood there taking in the scenery. It was already rather dark and the woods were almost completely silent, but right as I was about to continue my walk, I heard footsteps rapidly getting louder. It was a child running towards me, and as soon as I realized I was there, it started to repeatedly scream, "Run! He's coming!" Or variation of that same sentiment. I was a bit perplexed by the situation, so I watched the child run past me without moving an inch myself. I didn't take another second for a much more wary pair of footsteps to appear. I could make out silhouette in distance, which seems to be their region, and at that exact point in time I got really scared. As opposed to running, I decided to hide in the chapel next to the altar, and after tripping over an old broken chapel bench, I reached my hiding place. The footsteps got louder and louder, but right as they approached the vicinity of the chapel, they suddenly went silent. About 50 seconds of complete quietness had passed just for the words, "Oi, you fucking idiot left your kebab on the bench," to break the silence. Turns out it was a resident of the very same street I inhabit. His nephew was visiting and he wanted to race him to the kebab stand. I don't know whether this was the right place to post this. Ultimately, this is more stupid than creepy. This took place in the Australian bush around 10 at night. I was 17, leading a staggered column of about 60 cadets to our detachment campsite. Due to light discipline rules, only I at the very front of the group, and the other flight commander of the rear had torches on. This was so that any vehicles coming along the trail could see us, and so that most of the cadets could maintain their night vision. We were camouflaged up and thus difficult to see at night. As we walked along, I periodically looked to my sides and kept seeing what looked like dewdrops on the ground, almost like tiny blue gems glinting in my torchlight on either side of the road. I had to maintain my position in the formation so I couldn't get a good look at what they were. However, after a while we stopped for a very brief break and I took the opportunity to have a closer look. Walking over to the side of the trail, I spotted a small cluster of the diamonds and focused my head torch on them. Rather than seeing diamonds or dewdrops or anything remotely pleasant, I instead saw a group of about 5 large spiders, just crouching in the leaf litter and staring at me. They looked like huntsmen, which are about the size of an adult's hand. Sweeping my head around, I realized there were thousands of the things all over the ground, some on the trunks of trees, and everywhere around me, glaring at the light affixed to my head. I had a very brisk walk back to the formation and attempted to play it cool while screaming in my head. Being a massive arachnophobe, I have no fucking clue how I managed to set up a tent and spend the next week in that cursed forest. I was in a large wooded area near my boyfriend's home, with him hanging out nearly midnight. We had gone in pretty deep and it's required a good amount of climbing. The closest path was maybe 5-7 minutes climbing down, so it was highly unlikely someone could be at that spot that time of the night besides us. As we were kissing and stuff, he thought he saw a shadow move 20-25 feet to the left of us, climbing, but it stopped suddenly when my boyfriend looked at it. He told me to be wary, and at that exact moment we saw a dark figure climbing a little up but diagonally, like he tried to go directly above where we were. We didn't move and watched him until he closed the horizontal gap and was directly above us, maybe 15 feet of steep downhill thick forest. Then he began to come towards us. Without skipping a beat, my boyfriend grabbed my hand and we almost ran downhill till the path. We made it in less than 2 minutes while still holding hands and listening to the man running behind us. We ran as fast as we could down the path and out of the forest, where there was a cafe and some basketball and tennis courts next to the wooded hill, and of course people. As we realized, we came really close to being mugged or worse, so we vowed never to go there at night again. My boyfriend and I were backpacking through rural Tasmania a few years ago. While on a bus, we were discussing our plans for the ensuing 2 weeks. The girl in the seat in front turns around and offers us a place to stay in her town. We declined as we were headed elsewhere first, but she gave us her mobile number and said that she and her partner would love to have us. A few days later, we decided to take them up on the offer. We call her and she says they are happy to host us. So far so good. They meet us at the train station and immediately something feels off. It's really difficult to explain, but it's that primal, ineffable feeling in your gut that tells you that something isn't right. We ignored our guts and followed them. They led us straight out of town. We asked them where we are going and they say they live on the outskirts. This town is creepy as fuck. It's an old mining town that has been largely abandoned, and as we walk the 15 odd minutes to their home, the houses get shittier with boarded up windows, overgrown gardens and no people inside. Eventually, we reach the house at the very end of the town. It's their house. We go in. Set up in the middle of the living room with a single mattress with a sheet hanging around it. They show us around the house except for one door, which stays closed. When I asked what was behind it, they pretended not to hear. Our room has a made bed, a chest of drawers, and looks like a normal room. It seems weird that they sleep on mattresses in the living room when they have a guest room. We go back into the living room and look around. Knives, a lot of knives. My boyfriend asks if they go hunting. No. The partner hands one of the knives to my boyfriend and asks him to open it. It's a massive fucking Bowie knife with what looks like blood staining around the edges of the blade. My boyfriend laughs awkwardly and sets it down. They have a tattoo gun. To practice. My boyfriend asks if they have any tattoos. No. There is a small axe at the door. I ask if they collect wood. No. Suddenly the guy says he wants to go to the shops. We agree quickly because we are creeped out and want to get back into the town. The four of us leave and they start walking in the opposite direction to the town. I say that the town is back the other way. The guy says this way would be more interesting because it goes up through the trees. He says that they have never been up the mountains before, but he knows the area and it would take the same amount of time. I tell my boyfriend that I'm freaking out, but he thinks it's okay. We follow them into the trees. The path goes up the mountain. We are going into the total opposite direction from the town. The girl turns around to her partner and whispers, "So where was the place again?" My boyfriend and I freeze. I say I want to take the road back to town and start walking. When the four of us arrive in the one shop in town, no one recognizes the couple, and this is really small town. We make an excuse that we want to go look at sights and that we will catch up with them later, and instead book a hotel room and freak out. I did some snooping on the area. Their house had an extra room behind the mystery door and a basement. The path that we were taking led straight out of town and up the mountain. There was no way it could loop back into town. So yeah, pretty sure we narrowly avoided being murdered, or maybe they were just massive weirdos. In Auburn, Alabama, in 2008, it was Halloween and we googled haunted houses. I can't remember what the website was like or if there even was one, but it was like 45 minutes away. I know that it wasn't like a big attraction and we figured it was on someone's land, it would be like a local deal. We drove out there at like 10 p.m. This was before iPhones and GPS, so we had MapQuest directions. We ended up going down a pretty country road for a while with no street lights, then turned down a lady dirt road that went through the woods. Pitch black, went down it for like 10 minutes and finally saw an old house with a sign by the driveway that was handwritten and said "Haunted House." No other cars or lights, or people anywhere. We pulled in the driveway and sat there for a second like, alright, this is fucked up, we should leave. All of a sudden, an old pickup truck turned on about 15 feet in front of us, facing us, lights shining right in our faces. It started driving towards us. We backed out and peeled out. It followed us, like almost bumping our rear end. Right on our tail down this pitch black dirt road in the middle of the Alabama woods. We were flipping our shit. It was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hills Have Eyes stuff. He stayed out of our tail, blinding us and almost bumping us all the way back home until we got off our exit, and he finally let us go. No idea who was driving. I always think what would have happened if we had gotten out of the car when we were in the driveway. That was the last story in this video. Hear you in the next one. Keep your common sense. Bye.